What's going on, boys? Today we are talking a bit about the narrowing, which is what I'm calling a phenomenon I'm finding when an individual works to get comfortable with the idea of dying or or has run-ins with death. So the last week or so has been building into what I thought was going to be a situation that would not have been as bad as the US justice system, but would have been bad enough maybe not to want to stick around to deal with for however long dealing with it would take. I was distressed enough, more distressed than I've felt in a while. I was considering a hypothetical final action, a hypothetical self-defense situation. And as the days were moving forward, I felt the narrowing coming on. The narrowing of possibilities. The inability to get away. And it's been some time since I've had a proper Cobainer. So, for shits and giggles, again, completely hypothetically, despite the distress, I considered experimenting with the idea of self-defense. Putting the program, the order we've been working on to the test in a test run. Part of the idea I realized while chewing on it for a while being, if you have a test run in you, if you look inside yourself and find that strength, that capability, then you have that strength and that capability for the real thing, meaning you've realized you have it in you to skip a bunch of steps. Death, I think, is the point. Either you become nothing or there is nothing, or you become something. You get to the next level. You've found you have it in you to get there. And you will face this at some point. But what I realized is skull mining and dying or facing death are very different. And part of it has to do with that narrowing. In our progressive order development, we have realized we might actually have it in us to go down fighting, not rolling over and letting your face get smashed in with a boot forever. The terror of that being the instant narrowing of all possibilities. But even in that instance, there is the almost certainty you are going to face death if you stand up, but there is still a possibility something else might happen. And you see that in rolling over too, but especially in standing up for yourself. You aren't giving up. By cradling that ember, you preserve the possibility your courage might get you somewhere better in the end. It's the slimmest possibility, but it is still there. You are, in a sense, deciding to hope. And initially, if you remember, I distinguished submission and fighting as, or using hope, but I'm realizing they're both still hoping. Hoping still, despite the 99.99% certainty something bad is going to happen. different forms of hope, choosing to hope, accepting a degree of narrowing, but upon reflection, not entirely accepting an ultimate narrowing. That's what I realized, or part of what I realized, when I was smoking an unfilled steel cigar. You might have fight in you, and that might include death, but you do not have death in you. You do not have death alone in you. There's an almost impossible feeling, at least to me, ocean between 99.99% certainty of death and 100% death. You'll see people participate in things in which they might die, and some do, but it isn't a certainty. That's what makes them able to do it, I think. There is still room to hope. In another sense, there is still a submission to your mortal biological instincts. People say surviving is hard, and under certain conditions I would agree, but I don't think choosing to try to survive is hard. You aren't choosing to go on. That's not a choice, that's a natural state. Evolution, natural selection, has built you to go on. Now, if you go out into the woods and starve to death, that's one thing, but you weren't choosing to die. You were still trying to go on. Again, not a choice, an instinct. Cutting class early is a choice, and it's one I think most human beings don't have the courage to make. Because again, the narrowing. There is a difference between narrowing your possibilities and choosing to cut them off completely, or narrowing them down into one point for sure, because you're making it happen. It's not like you're narrowing it down so close you think it's one point, but it's actually not, because you aren't seeing it through yourself. Seeing it through yourself, bringing it to that one conclusion on your own, is something completely different. And in doing that, you are denying everything about this plane of existence, about your ego, about everything. It's choosing to call the universe's bluff. It's the difference between choosing something and being made to choose something. You might think they're the same because the end result is the same, but they are so different, both experientially and in terms of power levels. Submitting to your survival instincts and dying after living as long as you could have lived is not that high on the power level scale. Doing something risky and dying is a little bit higher. Doing something you know is almost certainly going to get you killed and dying is even higher. Choosing death is so much higher than all of them in terms of the spirit. Thinking about death a lot and returning to thinking about cortex blending in a serious and distressed context not only do I not have it in me? But also, that divide between maintaining a little itty bitty wiggle room for hope and choosing to deny hope is an ocean. And I have no idea what the temple masters who are able to carry that out are made of. And I don't mean swallowing a bunch of pills and hoping someone is going to come find you. I mean putting iron in your mouth and choosing to take everything, all possibilities, everything you're made of, everything you think everything is made of, and balling it up and throwing it away without any guarantee of an alternative or a payoff, or with the possibility of eternal damnation. And the reason this video is more about the narrowing of possibilities, or the choice, the decision to throw away the possibility of possibility, is because now that you know there is a difference between dying with possibility and dying without possibility, or dying with hope and dying without hope, that is something to work on, or contemplate, whatever you want to call it. That is a separate, distinct power of a higher order. And one of the things that clued me in to the role hope, or the lack of hope, plays in this was a really stinky, rotten prank someone pulled on me. Aware of what was going on, someone gave me a prank lottery ticket, and I didn't realize it was it was not, it said prank on there in one spot in fine print. But essentially, I did the scratch off for fun, under the impression this was just someone, you know, throwing shit at the wall in a bad situation. This probably isn't going to help, because why would it? But maybe it would. Maybe it will. And surprise, I won $10,000, which is not even life-changing money. That is just getting some shit in order and buying yourself some time and breathing room money. A low enough value to be believable from a, for all intents and purposes, trusted source. But, and it was such a distinct feeling, something said, there is no way this is real. Everything is lined up. This should be real, but you know this is not real. There is no way something this good could be happening to you right now. Either this is a fake despite appearing real, or even though the person who gave it to you would never do something that cruel, maybe it's unknowingly a fake, or there are going to be a bunch of steps and conditions that are going to prevent this from meaning anything. No matter what the outcome is, this is not happening. And it turned out it was fake, and the person did know that it was fake in my situation. And if I had believed on any level, that would have crushed me. But the fact something told me I should not allow myself to hope on any level. Any level. I was protected. I was more powerful for not trusting, for not hoping, for accepting a sort of narrowing, a small elimination of hope. The point here being, if you can approach 5% of the power, the strength, the courage of throwing everything away, denying hope entirely, there's something superhuman in that. I don't know what that is yet, but I've never watched JoJo, but it's giving me the JoJo aura thing. So in summary, there is a power difference between dying or choosing to let yourself die or to let someone take your life and taking your life. It's all about how comfortable you are or how prepared you are to throw away all potential, to deny all hope. Hope eradicated. And although not stated earlier, again, sort of unstated, but to be very clear, venerate your deceased. They have a strength most humans will never come close to. But that about rippity wraps this one up. I hope you enjoyed watching, because I certainly enjoyed making it. Like if you enjoyed, because that helps me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't, because we do this shit sometimes. And comment your thoughts, because I love hearing from you. What do you think constitutes that strength to deny hope, to accept an ultimate narrowing, to throw everything away? What do you think that takes? Thanks again for watching, everybody. Really, we have a lot of fun on this channel. So much fun, in fact, you can suck on it. And, yeah, because sucking on it is a lot of fun. That's how much fun we have on this channel, and I look forward to doing this with you guys again in the future.